Hello, everybody, and welcome back. It is Orucs-Oraihc, and I have joined another draft. For those of you who are wondering whatever happened to the playoffs in my last draft, I unfortunately had to drop out due to finals in school starting up at the wrong time for that, and so that was just unfortunate life circumstances. But uh, I'm still very happy with how that ended. I did have an undefeated season, and I am planning to have another one. Uh, Although that might be a bit facetious to say. I am really excited for this season, so let's just get straight into what I drafted and what the rules are. So, first things first, uh, the rules of this draft uh, there is no Dynamax and there are no legendaries allowed. And that includes restricted legendaries and non restricted legendaries, such as Landorus. So, uh, really interesting format, and I think I've drafted well. So let's just get straight into my picks for each round. Let's go. So Weavile was my round one pick. I was the 13th pick out of 16, which is not exactly the greatest spot. I decided to pick an A tier, specifically Weavile, with my first pick. And I've given these sets that I have used or think are decent in my team builder. So we've got naturally Weavile is a very strong Pokemon. I used Sneasel last season, so I know all about what this thing can do. This is just more powerful and slightly faster Sneasel. So with Fake Out, Ice Shard, Triple Axel, that and Nevermelt Ice, that was basically what I ran almost every week in the Little Cup draft with Sneasel, and it should be even stronger with Weavile, although not quite relative to the rest of everything, because Sneasel is super strong because it is a Little Cup mon. I've just given it a very basic spread here. It gets a couple of other good moves. You've seen me use them in the other draft. It gets Brick Break. It gets Counter if I want to run Sash. I can run Icicle Crash if I want to, and instead of Triple Axel. Just for some reason, I can run Night Slash. I can run Poison Jab for coverage. All sorts of different stuff I can do. Clefairy was my second pick. This was the 20th pick overall of the draft. I decided I've not drafted any redirection in any draft league that I've done before, and I've always thought halfway in, man, I should have drafted redirection. That would have been so nice. Clefairy is the second best redirector in the game, basically, for VGC. With Eviolite and Friend Guard, it's very good. It gets all sorts of good support moves. I've given it this very basic Follow Me, Protect, Helping Hand Moonblast set that basically is one of the more common ones. It can also run Life Dew. It can run things like Encore. I don't think it gets Healing Wish in this gen, but maybe it does, and I'm just wrong. You can run screens with it. It gets Reflect and Light Screen. It has a lot of options, and if you want to be really crazy, things like Thunder Wave. So definitely something to be thinking of for me is how I want to use Clefairy, what redirection I want. It's probably a good time to mention my kind of strategy. I wanted to get good solid A tiers because I knew I couldn't get the S tiers that I wanted. I was really looking for, like, of course, Incineroar, Rillaboom, one of the super strong types of Pokemon in the S tier, just to start out, and it worked really well. For me, being in the 13th pick, that I just couldn't get anything, and so I decided if I'm not going to get any of the really strong S tiers, I can just save my S tier pick for later, because all of the S tier picks I could get are good and will have some synergy with the rest of my team. So I'll just start with my A tiers, get really strong A tiers, and then move on to the lower tiers, get some things that I want as early as possible, and go from there. So after Clefairy, I got Scrafty. Scrafty is one of the next best things to Incineroar. I was going to get Torracat with this pick, but it got picked in the second round. Even I was going to pick it over Clefairy, but it got picked literally on the wheel pick of the first round, second round. So Scrafty is the next best thing. It gets Intimidate. It's very bulky. If you look at its stats, base 115 in both defenses. Its HP is a bit lacking, but it's not horrible. It gets really good moves. It's not only gets things like close combat lash out. It gets fake out. It also gets a lot of coverage and a good number of various support moves. Scary Face, Snarl, Swagger if I want to be crazy. All sorts of different things. I can taunt with it. It's just a very useful Pokemon to have. Bolton. Bolton was a pick that really angered the person I was helping in the last draft league in this server of this one. We used draft league to great success in that last season, and naturally, Bolton is just a super strong Pokemon. By which I mean it's super underrated. It's super fast. It's base 121 speed, which is outspeeding a lot of the super fast Pokemon. Gets really good support with Nuzzle and Electrify and Snarl. It can run Thunderbolt. I can also run something like Strong Jaw with Fire Fang, Psychic Fangs, etc. Just really super good support. But it can also be competitive, competitive as an anti-intimidate strategy. So, really useful in that regard. Moving on to Berserker. Berserker I wanted to pick before Bolton, but I was 100% convinced that I would get sniped for Bolton, considering that, again, the league chair who I had worked with in a previous season was a big fan of Bolton. I was going to draft Berserker straight up 4th round with the 52nd overall pick. But Berserker is really strong. It gets Steely Spirit, which is probably one of the better abilities in the game, just overall. Everything gets Steel type coverage. Like, you look, Iron Head is on everything. Another thing that's on everything is this one gets some sort of a Steel type move. I know it. Metal Claw? Does it get Metal Claw? I swear it got Metal Claw. Where's the Steel type move? It gets Iron Tail, I suppose, and Metal Claw, yeah. So everything is getting Steel type moves. Even Clefairy gets Meteor Mash. Bolton, I don't think it's Steel type coverage, but I could be wrong about that. If Iron Tail is a possible thing that it gets. No? Okay. It gets a lot of. Everything gets Steel type coverage, and Steely Spirit will just boost that by 1.5 times. Metal Coat is a great item for it because it'll give it Steel type moves even more power. 1.5 times 1.5 times 1.2 is already a decent chunk, more than most things. Another thing I can run on Berserker is a set with Iron Ball, and I have theory crafted this in all sorts of places. Iron Ball with Gyro Ball, Min Speed Berserker. Well, among other things, it one-hit KOs a Zacian from full, and it's just, this Pokemon is also not just a one-trick pony. It's versatile. I can run Tough Claws if I am going to need more power on a coverage move. I can run Battle Armor if I want to run it defensively. As crazy as that sounds, it's viable. So yeah, just super excited to be able to use Berserker in draft because I think it's super powerful. And now we go on to Kaparaja. Of course, I can't draft Berserker without drafting Kaparaja. I can't draft much of anything without drafting Kaparaja. Kaparaja, of course, you've all seen QFant in my Little Cup draft league, and if you haven't, then what are you doing? I have an entire video series of every single week of that draft league that you should watch. But Sheer Force Life Orb is just a super powerful set. Iron Head, Play Rough, Rock Slide. It gets other moves that are really good against, really good with Sheer Force and Life Orb. If I want to go crazy, I can run stuff like Flash Cannon, Earth Power. Don't know why I would, but I could if I wanted to be just absolutely legitimately insane. Super strong Pokemon. I can run curse sets if I want to. Is another option if I want to be crazy. It's not something I've done before, but I can do it. Like a legitimate plan that I have thought of against a specific Pokemon or a specific opponent that uses a Stall Core is I can run Stealth Rock, Whirlwind, Iron Defense, stuff like that. Or I can just set up a billion curses and destroy all things with that. All sorts of great options with Kaparaja. I haven't given this EVs. What am I doing? 252, 252, 4. You've all seen my standard set. So I guess I'm not leaking anything if I put in my standard set. This is kind of what I like to run. No, that's not it. What is... I forget. My goodness. Is it that? No, that's not it either. I have a standard set. You can find it looking through my videos. It's something like this. Or this. I don't remember. With Brave Nature. I swear I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Kaparaja, I just think is really, really strong. No, it was definitely 132, 124. Yeah. Something like this, or maybe with the 124 in defense, is like my standard set. You can find it if you look for it. I don't know. I don't care about leaking it. Of course, I'm going to change my set every week, regardless. So, moving on. Aromatisse, of course. Again, if you were watching my Little Cup draft last year, or it was very nearly last year at this point. My goodness. But earlier in this year, I suppose, you will know what Spritzy did for me. Aromatisse will be doing much of the same. I have a lot of plans for this Pokemon outside of what you just see here, although this is kind of, again, my standard set: max HP, max defense, relaxed nature, Trick Room, Moonblast After You is a big one, and Helping Hand. I will guaranteed bring Aromatisse with After You plus Scarf Dracovish. Just to be able to say I used Scarf Dracovish and Trick Room and won with it. Speaking of Dracovish, naturally Aroma Veil is super strong. I can wear any sort of item I want on this thing. They're all good, pretty much, except for Soul Vest. I don't know. Dracovish is powerful. There's nothing much else to say. It was getting to the 8th round here, and there was one other team that hadn't picked their S tier, and they had a pick before me in the last round. Because of that, I decided I wanted to get Dracovish when I could. And I knew I could at this point. So I got it now. My other options were still good, but I I much prefer having Dracovish over the other options that I had. It's just a super strong Pokemon. Not much else to say. Choice Scarfish is Ren, Choice Bandfish is Ren. Max speed, you can run Jolly, you can run Adamant. Everyone knows Dracovish, and if you don't know Dracovish, then you haven't been paying attention in the past 2 years of competitive Pokemon. Yeah. It's a fish. Frostmoth. Frostmoth, I can run all sorts of items on, like Charty Berry. I'm mostly going to be running things like Charty Berry, Aka Berry, Baviri Berry, things like that. It gets Tailwind. That's really its big niche. I had to pick 2 more DTOs at this point, and I figured Frostmoth is good for Tailwind. It also has some other options than Ice Beam and Bug Buzz. Things like Air Slash. I can run Blizzard if I want to go crazy. Dazzling Gleam. Giga Drain. I have options. I can also run things like a dual screen set with Light Clay if I am feeling crazy. I don't want to leak all of my preparation with Frostmoth particularly, because Frostmoth is one of my kind of dark horses that I've picked that I haven't used before, and people don't know how much I know about it, and people also just don't know that much about it in general. But I have a lot of Frostmoth sets on the back burner in my mind, so keep an eye out. Ice Scales is good. Shield Dust is also an option if I'm afraid of Fake Out to keep Tailwind up. Moving on, Cinccino. I have used Cinccino in a multi-battle draft league before. It's just fast, and it gets Skill Link, and it gets so many good Skill Link moves. I've got a Kingsrock set because Kingsrock Skill Link is really powerful when there's no Dynamax. Like Bullet Seed, Rock Blast, Tail Slap, all hitting 5 times. Bullet Seed probably the best of those, just because it's 100% accuracy, you know. Also, Triple Axel is quite strong. Other than Skill Link, I can also run Technician with Triple Axel. So that's a big thing that I can do. I can run Technician with any of these moves, really, but Triple Axel is the big one for certain. Base 115 speed, not bad attack. I've run Choice Scarf sets with this as well. I remember we ran a Choice Band set that was somehow able to one-hit KO Primarina on like some crazy roll that I managed to calculate. Like, because it's a 5-hit move, I was calculating the like 5D range to something like 68% to one-hit KO a Primarina. That was Dynamaxed with Bullet Seed, Choice Band, Helping Hand. This thing gets a lot of good moves, and I can also use all sorts of support sets. It gets Encore, it gets Knockoff. I don't know if it still gets Knockoff actually, but it gets moves. I can run moves on it. Thunder Wave is definitely a thing it still gets. Going on to my final pick. Doraldon was only my final pick because I realized in round 7 that everybody else had already chosen all of their D tiers, and because of that, I had the freedom, or all of their B tiers, and so I had the freedom to pick my B tier last. Hence why I picked my 2 D tiers before Doraldon, because Doraldon is very good. It also has great synergy with these two. Berserker and Caparaja, or mostly Berserker, but Assault Vest Doraldon is really strong. I can also run a Life Orb set. I can also run a Choice Specs set if I'm feeling crazy. Regardless, Stalwart is a great ability. It ignores redirection. That is really important against certain teams in the draft, like the Indeedee spam team that has Hatterene and Reuniclus, I can do all sorts of things. Duraludon is just a super strong counter to that particular team, which is great. Of course, anyone who has played in the first few series of VGC 2019 will know what Duraludon does. Stalwart makes it ignore redirections, and it hits hard. Flash Cannon, Dark Pulse, T-Bolt, Dragon Tail. But it can also do other things. It can run physical sets. Its physical attack is not horrible. So Ironhead, especially when it's boosted by Steely Spirit from Berserker, it's not going to be doing no damage. I can say that much. Non-zero damage is always good. And it has a couple of support moves like Reflect. It gets Stealth Rock if I'm crazy. I can Swords Dance with it. I can sub with it. I can T-Wave. All sorts of stuff can happen with this Pokemon. Be on the lookout. Yeah. Snarl is an option. But that was my last pick, and that is my overall draft. Super excited for this season. Also super happy that I've managed to make all of these in this box have a different item, because it really shows that I don't need to worry as much as some teams might about potential item overlap. I have a lot of options for all of my Pokemon, and like none of these are the only item I can run on this. Like Weavile can of course run other things than Never Melt Ice. It can run Choice Band, for example, but just all sorts of super strong options for me. Really excited about this draft, and I hope you're excited to watch it, because I will be posting team builder videos, and I will be posting battle videos every week. Be on the lookout for those. And until next time, I will see you around. Have a good one, everybody. Bye.